Hi there everyone, Art Burns here. So I always start these videos out saying that I hope you're having a great day, or you're having a wonderful day, or you're having a fantastic day. I hope that you're meeting this day with presence, compassion, and acceptance, because that means that you're having a happy day. And while it is true that I want that for you, I really, really do, I feel that it would be a little disingenuous today to assume that that was even possible for a lot of people out there, because I don't think today, on election day in the US here in 2020, I don't think that is the case for most people. I don't think most people are having a great day today. I think people are very nervous, people are very afraid, people are very angry, people are very insecure, people are very a lot of things. And what's happening, I think, is that, this gripping fear that's been building for months and years as we lead up to this election today, and now it's finally here. I think it's really overwhelming for a lot of people. So if you are feeling that today, right, I want you to know a couple of things. First of all, I want you to know that I do hope that you get through it, no matter what side of the aisle you vote on. And that's not what I'm here to talk about today, right? I'm not talking about the actual politics. I'm not talking about, what's right and what's wrong. And I'm not, and as you know, I don't put my politics on display here in these podcasts and these videos. And if you would like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, I'd be more than happy to do that with you. But that's not my place here, and it's not my intention to be a political figure here on these podcasts and these videos. What I'm here to do is to help you to manage your way through this life, to show up for yourself in this life so that you can be happy, right? That's the idea. Because happiness equals success, right? No matter what it is that you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to heal from old trauma, if you're trying to raise children in a different way from how you were raised, if you're trying to be a good person with whatever you do for your business and for your career, if you're trying to be a good son or daughter, a good father or mother, a good cousin, a good brother, a good sister, whatever it is that you're endeavoring to do right now, if you act and work from a place of happiness and a place of love, then whatever it is that you're trying to do, you're going to be more successful at it. And that's what I'm here to help you with. Okay, and so now today I want to talk about, it would be disingenuous to ignore the elections that are going on today. It would be disingenuous, and it would be kind of foolhardy to not take this opportunity to talk about how mindfulness practices and emotional intelligence, which I talk about here every single day, in the interest of developing this happiness for yourself. But it would be disingenuous and a little hollow to not address how these very practices can help you today, right? There's a lot of fear going on right now. As I just said a moment ago, like we are operating from this place of fear and this place of trauma, and it's taking a toll on people all around us, right? And I'm seeing it on some of my friends. Like somebody just posted on my Facebook wall there. A friend of mine from back in New York says, how the hell am I supposed to get anything done today? My stomach's in a knot, and it's only like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, this guy's got to wait he's probably going to wait days, if not weeks, before we know what's actually going to happen. How is he going to make it through? How are you going to make it through if you're this tense and this afraid of what's going to happen, right? And so the answer is not to give up your fear. The answer is not to ignore your fear or to assume everything's going to be all right, because you know what? There is some real concerns out there, right? But there are things that we can do to help ourselves, to kind of dull the edge of this pain that we're feeling and this fear that we're feeling, right? And the fear that turns into anger and resentment, right? Because this is all causing us a lot of stress in our bodies, which means that we're not going to cope with it on an adaptive and positive way. We're more likely to cope with it in maladaptive ways, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of my friends right now, even at 3 o'clock on the East Coast, that people aren't already, drinking to try to just dull the pain. But that's not the answer, right? That's not going to be good in the long run, because tomorrow you're still going to wake up, right? And you're going to wake up to the news, perhaps, of what you either fear or what you hoped for, right? But the point is, though, that we have very little control over it, right? We only have control over what we do, right? Which is a metaphor for life. You know, you have no control over the outside, experiences or the outside, mechanisms of the world and the universe around you. You do not have control over what is happening with other people and what people are going to do to you and what you're going to, what is going to come into your world at any given moment. You don't control all that, right? But what you do control is you control how you respond to it. Right? Which is true today too, right? The only thing you have control over is the decision to go out, stand online, and drop a ballot in the box, right? Or the decision not to, right? And that's for a lot of people, that is the answer. And now that brings me to a really kind of the point that I want to really talk about today, right? Is that there is such a level of division. You basically have three different groups. Okay, you have the group that wants the Democratic Party to prevail here because they feel that the last 4 years have been a nightmare. They feel that the country is headed in the wrong direction. They feel that the damage that has been done or that could continue to be done is just not acceptable, right? Then you have the people who are hoping that the Republican Party prevails. Right? And these people feel that the country has been on the wrong path for 8 years prior to 4 years ago, right? And they feel that in spite of the vulgarity and the clownish nature of some of the political sort of window dressing, they believe that this platform aligns with their beliefs and their ideals and their morals more so than the other does. And they feel just as strongly as the people who are Democrat, the people who are Republican feel the same level of fear that if the Democrats win, then everything's going to get ruined, right? And then you have a third group of people who are those people who have completely divorced themselves from the whole process because neither party answers their call. Neither party, addresses what they feel is really needed, right? And so the problem is that we're all so angry with each other, right? We're all so against each other, right? Like families have been torn apart because of families, members of the family being Trump supporters and other members of the family being Trump detractors, right? And this has exposed something that's really, really much more important than the politics, right? And so what I'm here to say here is that how can we get through this, right? Because I don't want to get into the politics of it, my own beliefs and stuff like that. That's not really what you're here to hear from me, right? But what you're here to hear from me is what can we do today to take that edge off? What can we do today to feel okay? Because a lot of people are not feeling okay today. So I'm going to go through a couple of things that you can physically and intentionally do for yourself right now to help yourself through these next 24, 48, 72, who knows how many hours that are ahead of us before we even know what's happening. And also to prepare for what happens, right? So let's talk about how these practices that I talk about here can help, right? So first of all, let's talk about presence, right? If you cast your ballot already, there's nothing more for you to do. There's nothing more that you can do to influence anything that happens from this point forward. There's no amount of worrying. There's no amount of fretting. There's no amount of, if you believe in prayer, then there's nothing wrong with praying, but prayer is something that's a beautiful thing. But there's no amount of worry or anxiety or fear or wringing your hands or biting your fingernails. There's no amount of any of that is going to affect the outcome of this election. Nothing. So the only thing that you can possibly do is to drop that ballot in the box or fill it out and put it in a box, or whatever it is that you're doing, wherever it is. Here in Colorado, it is literally like a mailbox. We just drop it in there and you're done, right? You've got the thing in the mail a few weeks ago, along with a couple of packets that tell you about all the different state initiatives and all the different people running, and gives you sort of bio and information about them. And then you fill it out, you seal it in an envelope, and you put it in one of these boxes. And it's that easy, you know. But wherever it is that you have to do it, right? Whether it's standing online and risking your health and making sure your mask is on tight and all that kind of stuff, whatever it is that you have to do to go through that process, that's all you can do. Pardon me. Literally all you can do today. All you can do for the outcome of the election. But there's a lot more that you can do for yourself, right? And so the first thing you can do is to stay present, right? Don't think about what's going to happen. What if this happens? Or what if that doesn't happen? Or what if the worst case scenario comes out? What if the best case scenario comes out? What's going to happen tomorrow, right? If you find yourself getting stuck in those thoughts, right, I really encourage you to try to let them go and bring yourself back into your body, which is present, right? Bring yourself back into your breath, right? Just sense into your breath. Just sense the breath coming in and out of your body for 30 seconds, a minute, right? Just close your eyes wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and for 30 to 60 seconds, just focus on your breath. And keep doing that every time that thought comes into your mind. Or anytime that you find yourself thinking about, okay, well, what's going to happen later? What if this? What if that? Any of those thoughts, they're not serving you. All they're going to do is cause stress in your body, which is going to make you more reactive. So that when we do find out what happens, your reactivity is going to, be a liability. It's not going to be an asset for you. So truly, I mean, really try to endeavor and set the intention to be present. And every time you find yourself drifting off into that non-presence, bring yourself back. And if the breath doesn't work for you, that's fine. Sense the bottoms of your feet. Feel your butt in the chair underneath you. Feel the air temperature. All right, just focus on anything that is present. Any one of your 5 senses. Your breath, pay attention to the blinking of your eyes, pay attention to the hands as, lay them on your lap, whatever it is, right? There's also this thing that I've taught you here, right? In, out, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, right? That is present. Right, this hand right here and this finger right here and the breath that comes in through my nose and out through my mouth, they are present. They are not at 11 o'clock tonight. They are not next week when the Supreme Court is hearing cases about local elections and stuff like that, right? It's right now, and that's where you want to be, because that is where your strength is, and that is where your resources are, and that is where any hope that you have of doing anything beyond voting, that's where it lies. Okay? So let's talk about acceptance, right? How does acceptance play into this, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say just accept whatever happens and it's all going to be okay, because I know you're not going to believe that, right? I know that you're not going to believe that, so I'm not going to tell you to do that, right? But consider this, okay? Consider this. Allow yourself to accept it for now. Right? Accept the fact that despite the fact that you voted, despite the fact that all of your friends voted, that whatever happens is going to happen. And so to fight that thing, right? To sit there and wring your hands and bang your head against the wall and drive your car really fast or smoke a bunch of cigarettes or drink a bunch of drinks and just punish yourself over this to try to, deal with the anger and the overwhelming upset that you're feeling over this thing, it's not going to help you, and it's not going to change the outcome of the election. It's not going to. What can change is that if you accept the reality, and then you can take an active role, right? You can take a role of activism. You can get on your senator. You can get on your representatives. You can, you can go to rallies. You can go to, there's lots of things that we can physically do that will contribute to some desired end here, right? But sitting here and just being upset, not going to do it. It's not going to do it. All that's going to do is take you away from the ability that you have to do anything. Right? It's literally going to render you completely impotent in the process. So when we say acceptance, we don't mean like, oh, well, it's just another 4 years. It is what it is. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is don't allow yourself to be so overwhelmed by how different this was from your expectations or your desires. Right? That you make yourself sick. You physically will make yourself sick. So don't do that. Really, don't do that. And if you find yourself, again, when you find yourself feeling that way, sense into your body. Again, right? That's the answer, right? Just get present with what's happening and then consider the ability to just accept for now the reality of the situation. And that brings us to compassion. Right? And how does compassion play into this? And I know this is a hard one for a lot of people right now, right? Because a lot of people believe that, that the people who vote for the person who we don't like, it means that we don't like the people who are voting for the people we don't like. And that's not true, right? That is not true. And there's this sense in the political spectrum right now, in this field out there, there's this sense of such animosity and such confrontational action that's happening, right? That it's almost like we're like it's as though we feel that someone who is voting opposite to us, they're voting against us. They're doing something to hurt us, right? And it's easy to see that. It's easy to feel that way. Right? And of course the news media and the sensationalism out there doesn't help that perception, right? But the reality is that it's almost never the case where somebody is acting in a way in order to hurt you. People are acting in a way that they feel is in their best interest. Let me repeat that. It is very rare that anyone does anything to us in order to hurt us. Rather, people are doing things that they feel are going to relieve their own suffering. So if you are someone who feels that the current administration has been like the devil on earth, right? Just because someone else votes for them does not mean that they're voting to hurt you. What they're doing is they're voting because they feel that's what they need in order for them to be happy, in order for them to be free from suffering. And so this is a really important thing to remember right now, because right now, this is the source of a lot of our collective angst and a lot of the collective stress and trauma that's happening right now. I mean, families have been torn apart over this. Right? Over the last 4 years, there are families who literally don't talk to each other anymore because of the perception of the support of one party over another, right? So it's important to remember, right, that whoever it is that you're thinking about and whoever it is that's causing you that anger in your body right now, right? Try to reframe it and try to tell yourself that they are only doing what they are doing because they feel that it will relieve their suffering. And they just want to be happy, just like you do. Okay? And just because they feel different things about their happiness and they believe different ways to get to that happiness does not make them wrong, and it does not make them worthy of your scorn and your vengeance and your animosity, right? And this allows us to arise the concept of forgiveness, right? And forgiving those people who you feel are doing something that is so harmful to the world right now, right? And the reason you forgive them is not for them, right? The reason you feel compassion, I mean, yes, it is for them to a degree, right? We want people to be happy. We want people to be, kind, free from fear and suffering and feel loved and feel well, right? We want that for people because that's our human nature, right? But even beyond that, right? If it is somebody who you look at and you say, how could they possibly support this thing or this person or this whatever? And we start to feel that anger for that person. Realize that the only person that anger is hurting is you, right? It's only hurting ourselves when we feel that way about someone. This person is going to go on with their life, no matter how we feel about them. And so feeling this compassion and feeling the understanding that this person is just acting in a way that they feel they need to do in order to be happy, when we can really embrace that concept, it becomes much easier to say, well, I feel sorry that they're in that kind of pain, that they feel that this is what needs to be done, but that's how they feel. And if it is that genuine and it's not something trying to hurt me and trying to hurt my family, then how can I be so upset with them? It doesn't mean you ever have to agree with them. It doesn't mean you ever have to tell them that you feel this way about them. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't even try to convince them if you really feel strongly about your convictions and your beliefs. Go ahead, talk to them, even yell and try to be, try to convince them. But also forgive them. And also feel that they are just trying to relieve their own fear and their own suffering. And doing that is going to free you and allow you again to be present and to be, and to draw upon the resources that you have to get through this. Because that's what this is all about, right? This is not about what that person is doing. This is about what you're doing. And if you can make yourself whole and make yourself heal, then that's what you need to do. Because whatever these other people are doing is not really going to affect you unless you let it. Remember, you don't have control over what they're doing, but you do have control over how you respond to it, internally and externally. If you'd like to talk about this, okay, if you're having a hard time today and you're frustrated, you got family members, maybe you feel very alone, and I don't care which side of the political spectrum you're on. I have conversations with diehard Trump supporters, and I have conversations with people who would never, vote for Trump. And I can relate to both of them the same because I relate through these things that I'm talking about here, right? Which is presence, acceptance, compassion, forgiveness, love, right? Mindfulness, heartfulness. And so if you're feeling alone and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like you don't know what you're going to do, then pick up the phone and call me, all right? Or do one of the things to get in touch with me, right? Either send me a message here, go to my website. You can book a call right on my website. We can get on the phone together as soon as tomorrow, right? And if you really need me that badly, then send me a message today. I will get it today and we can talk today, okay? If that's really what you need, I'm here for you, okay? And I want to help. And I will sit with you. I'll listen to you. And I'll help you to breathe through this if that's what you need. So let me know. And I wish you well. I wish you well. I wish the people opposite of your belief, I wish them well. And I wish this country well. And I wish the rest of the world well, because they're the ones who are watching us go through this too. And I know that they're not loving that either. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I wish you well. And I'll be back again tomorrow to talk about some more less political and more sort of universal truths about how mindfulness and emotional intelligence can really impact our lives in a very beneficial way. And I look forward to that. And I'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.